Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I am working on a major traffic issue. So it's focusing on this intersection and the intersection we just saw a couple of seconds ago. So this whole area, I knew it would become so bad in the future, but I kind of just left it because, I don't know, I was just kind of being lazy, and I have no excuse really. But now all the traffic's built up, as you can see, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to be working on today. And if we actually look at the traffic, it's quite bad. You can see the highway, there's a lot of red on it all the way out, so it's having quite a large effect on the whole region as well. So it's really important that I try and fix it. So firstly, I just wanted to have a quick look at where all the traffic's going, and it looks like a lot of them are going left, and there's a lot of build up on the left side as well. And so I tried several different techniques, and the first one was to actually just upgrade the roads and try to do some timed traffic lights, but unfortunately once I tried that and worked all that out, it didn't really work at all. So I just, well, it took me a while to figure that out. I was trying to get the traffic lights to work, but eventually I just figured out, well, maybe not figured out, but I just came to a realization that the mini highway, it shouldn't really have to stop at an intersection, it should just go straight underneath, so there's a constant flow. And so finally I actually start building my end product after probably like maybe an hour of trying to figure out what to do. So the first thing I do is I just put a tunnel straight underneath, really easy, and then I start to build some on and off ramps. And at first it started to look really weird because it all meets at this one intersection, and there's like how many different ways to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways in and out of this intersection. But you'll see in the end it actually works quite well, and it kind of reminds me of the diamond intersection. So if you're not familiar with the diamond intersection, maybe go look that up on Google Images. It's not really a diamond intersection, but it still kind of reminds me of it a little bit. So as you can see, I start to add some little features. So yeah, I add in the ways that the cars can go. So I make sure that this off ramp, they can only turn left, and then on the other side they can go to the off ramp, or they can go straight ahead, just making it so traffic flows a lot better. And then so for this main part here, it actually took a lot of just trying to figure out what works best, seeing where all the traffic comes from. So a lot of the traffic was coming from the left side, the left entrance ramp, and also from that other ramp on the other side. So I had to make sure that the left on ramp and the other busy ramp on the other side had priority in this intersection, as well as also making sure that there's enough flow for the whole intersection in general. So the first major thing I had to do was make these types of connections. So making it so different lanes go to one specific area. So instead of making it so cars just kind of go wherever, I want them to go to specific lanes. So you can see, like, for example, the lane closest to the high school there, I have a specific lane going off onto the highway. Then the next one, there's lanes going straight ahead, then there's lanes going to the other way. And so yeah, I make sure there's all different specific lanes for where they want to go. Without that mod, which is the network extension mod, I really don't think this type of intersection would be possible at all. And if you want that mod, it's actually in my mods list, which is in the description below. Okay, and so now is the time to actually add in the timed traffic lights, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I done it. And so the first step is I made sure all the pedestrian crossings are off, and I turned on the 2 green lights for the priority roads, which is ones on the left and the right, which are the really busy ones where the green lights are, and I gave them somewhere in the 20-second range to go through the intersection, because since they're the most busy part of the intersection, they will get the most time, of course. And so the second step is to once again, I just make sure all the pedestrian crossings are off, and I make it so there's only one green light, and that's coming from the bottom road, so that bottom road can basically go wherever they want without interference from anyone else. And then the next green light is from the top one, which I just turned off, and the final one I make it so all the pedestrians can cross at once, and I think I give them about 10 seconds. It's kind of like that big crossing in Japan where they just all go at once. So that was the idea for this intersection here. And if we just look at how it's running right now, I think it actually works quite well, surprisingly. And you can see all the traffic. There's not too much traffic here now, but it still has a nice flow. There's not too much of a wait time. There's kind of a bit of a build up happening at the bottom, but there it goes, so they don't really have to wait that long. And then so this lane, I noticed they start to build up onto the highway, which I didn't want, so I decided to upgrade the off-ramp there to a double lane. And then for this part here, they can turn off into the residential area, so I add in another lane just so they can turn off without interfering with any other traffic that passes by. So since there's 2 lanes ahead of that turn-off lane, I add in a third one which acts as the turning lane, as you can see right there where I fix up the turning lanes with the mod. And then quickly I just add in I just adjust the speed limits to make it seem more like a highway. I put a stop sign there because obviously I don't want them to drive directly onto the highway. They have to stop and kind of give way. And just before I finish up with this intersection, I add in some vegetation, and without the vegetation it kind of looked really odd, but once I add in the vegetation it looks pretty good, and it kind of makes it blend in more with the whole area. And yeah. And so over here I noticed there's a lot of traffic, so I decided to add in a quick little exit ramp which will go directly down onto the road below. And this ramp will be just a one-way ramp that will connect onto that road right there. And I actually make it so when they go down that ramp they can only go straight ahead. And you'll see that I actually adjust the way that they can turn right there, so they can only go straight ahead. No one else can turn backwards from that ramp. And so this is the second intersection that is a major issue for this whole area, and I'm not really going to explain how I do this section because it's basically an exact copy of what I just done in the last intersection. Even with the timing for the lights, it's basically all the same because I figured that works the best for this area. But if you're doing it in your city, just have a look at but where all the traffic is coming from, where it's going, and go from there, and just whichever one has the most traffic, give them the most time in the intersection. And also don't forget about the pedestrians, because there's been times when I actually add in the timed traffic lights and I completely forget about the pedestrians, and they're just waiting there building up and building up and building up more. So there's a lot of traffic over here, so I just upgrade the lanes, and then once again I start to configure which way I want all the lanes to go to. And without this actual connection, I don't think this whole intersection will work at all, just because in the game it doesn't really understand how to do it on its own, but with the mod it's really helpful, and I'd highly recommend getting this mod if you haven't already. And since I removed the road to the right side there, all the bus lines are pretty messed up right now, so I actually fixed them up off camera because it was kind of tricky, because they kind of just went all completely crazy. So yeah, I fixed those up off camera, so don't worry about those. I think a lot of the traffic was actually going to the public housing estate, because that was in the last episode. If you haven't checked that out, I'll link that above. Yeah, so I think a lot of them were actually going to that area, and also the downtown area, because there's a lot of new residential buildings that have just popped up. So I think that was where all the traffic was going and trying to get to, and they just happened to use this area to get there, I suppose. So I actually made this intersection just slightly a little bit different. I added in some turning lanes, and I actually put in some stop signs just to make them wait a little bit so they don't actually just merge straight in and cause other traffic issues. In the other intersection, I didn't add in the merging lanes. It's basically just the original design. So I added in double lanes there. I added in the extra turning lane here. Yeah, so the turning lanes, they actually turned out to be really helpful, because the turning lanes, they don't have any interaction with the traffic lights. They just go at their own pace very slowly. This road here, I made it a two-way road going onto the highway, and then this is a two-way road going off. And for this specific area, I actually made it so there's stop signs. So this road here actually has priority over the main road, so they can just go at their own pace. And yeah, so you'll see lots of little stop signs everywhere. And yeah, I don't think there's much else I can say. I'm just really happy that it really all worked out finally. It took me a while to work it out, but I'm pretty happy with the end product. And they're doing some weird stuff in that top lane right there. I don't know why they're doing it like that. I don't know. I couldn't work that out. I guess it was just something in the game. So you'll see there's still some red areas in the traffic overlay map. It's significantly reduced because remember, the highway was so red completely out of the city, but now it's quite green actually. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's what I've got for you today. Don't forget to leave a comment, let me know what I should do next. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.